Appreciate you guys coming. We're super excited about VJ, what he can bring to the team. Brings a dynamic athlete, potential all-star, two-way player. Really helped his team. He's got all these winning qualities that we think really fit. Great teammate. His story and what he's done to get to this point is really unbelievable. And we think he's on a great trajectory to take where he's come from and continue to improve through Baylor all the way through a very long and very promising NBA career. And we're excited it's here at the 76ers.
Was there a specific, turning point that kind of pushed the pendulum in VJ's direction?
I hate to invoke the word, but I mean we have a pretty detailed process here, and I think it starts at the high school level and all the pre-work before in the years prior to their coming into college, with national teams, with everything, and that process continued through this year. No, I mean, I think we were seriously considering, pretty much, early in the process it was about 6 and that was down to 4, and then we were deliberating up until the last few days, down to who we would pick, and as we dug in, we felt like VJ was by far the best choice there.
Daryl, there was some reporting that when he worked out for you that he was nervous. How did you see him when he worked out, and how much stock do you put into those workouts anyway?
I put 0.0% into workout. I really do. I would say I do think I do like having dinner with the guys. I do like getting to know them better. Obviously it's different reading all the reports that our scouts file and coaches give us and everything, and then meeting someone. I think that is beneficial. I think the encore stuff is, I guess it's nice to make sure they're not hiding an injury or something. I don't know. It's very hard for me to figure out how you get anything out of a session. If you could put them in a competitive setting, that might be something, but that's not something that happens at high picks. So not a big part of the process, but we did love having them in and having dinner with them and things like that.
Have to get him back. There's a draft happening right now. Daryl, there's years where the draft kind of falls off a cliff after number 1 overall, number 2. Sometimes it doesn't even get the number 1. But do you feel fortunate to kind of have had the number 3 pick in a year where there
fortunate? I mean, people are making fun of me because I think they saw someone freeze the picture of the video where Elton and Nick are just happy, and I'm just collapsed and I don't even know what I was feeling, because it was a rough year for the fans, primarily a rough year for Coach Nurse, ownership, the players, and if we would have left that without a guy who could be a potential all-star for us, that was going to be really tough, and we even got some good fortune to move a little higher. So, yeah, I would say feel very fortunate in many ways.
I mean, you're not necessarily thinking floor at number 3, but he does seem to have a combination of ceiling and kind of, you can project him, bare minimum.
Agree with that completely. Yeah, that he has a nice combination of both. I will ask our fan base. I mean, look, early returns can get magnified. I do think it's hard this is a man's league, and he's strong and physical, so I think he'll adjust quicker than most draft picks, but they take a little time sometimes, and but we're very excited about him.
So this is another investment for you guys in a young guard. I guess just how do you see VJ fitting with Tyrese and Jared and Quentin if you can bring him back?
Yeah, so I really like, how things are shaping up. I think we'll have one of the best backcourts in the league, with Grimes and Maxey and Jared McCain and now VJ. So I do think, the way the NBA is going, I think you saw some of these teams playing dynamic, up-tempo with multiple guards that put the defense in jeopardy. And, we do have to have our main guy in the middle. I felt for the players and Coach Nurse, specifically last year, trying to put a defense on the floor with Joel out, and obviously Drummond was hurt, so we didn't. Bona stepped up late, which was exciting, but it's very hard to, if you have like a bunch of dynamic guards, it's hard to make it all work if you don't have a big in there who's making things hard on the other team.
Related to that, how is Joe doing? What's the latest on him? We haven't heard since he had surgery in April, and do you think he'll be ready for camp? And also the other guys, Paul George notably, and I guess Tyrese to a lesser
Sure.
extent.
Medical update time. Spoke to Joel today. He's very engaged, attacking rehab, doing everything he can to be out there. He had a meeting with Dr. Glashow this week. All things, to use the NASA term, nominal. Things are going well and expected, and we expect that to continue. So
Ready for camp?
yeah, I mean things are on track to be ready right around there. So
And a quick follow up. Your thoughts on why were you told Ace Bailey didn't want to work out for you, and your thoughts on when a player doesn't want to work out? Period.
it was pretty opaque. I mean, I spoke to the agents, so did Elton, so did Prosper, so did a lot of the key folks on our staff. He didn't work out with anybody, so that was just their plan. So it was just their general plan, and I don't try to judge. They were doing what they thought was best for them. We were doing what's best for us, and it had no impact on the decision. So
you already have obviously Tyrese in the fold. You have last year you drafted Jared and Dem, who all kind of have that, kind of mature improvement mindset. Seems like VJ also fits into that mold. Is that something that is important to you? Is that something that you valued when you evaluated him?
yeah, I think that's above and beyond what you can see on the floor. The thing we spend a lot of time on, and I will say it's very hard to forecast with 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds, 20-year-olds. We don't think we have some crystal ball, but where we can get more confidence that a player has two things, which is they understand that they're not where they need to be. They understand they're not yet, pick your all-star guard in the league. And then they have the work ethic to close that gap. If a player has that's very interesting to us generally. And yes, we've been fortunate that you can get a guy with talent already playing at a high level at Baylor, and then also has just not only just a hopeful work ethic, but one you can see if you track back to the Bahamas and you track back through his pre-Baylor period all the way through. I think we're excited about that.
What kind of opinion did Tyrese have with VJ's work out here, and what kind of input did Nick Nurse have as far as VJ and what he can do?
Man, Nick is, I'll get to Tyrese, but Nick's been unbelievable in this process. He's a coach who's like in every meeting, sitting through our hours of meetings. He's run teams when he came up and had to work his way to the NBA harder than most guys in terms of running teams in Iowa, running teams overseas. And so he had such a great perspective because he has not just the coach's eye, but he also has run teams. So he gets that you want to care about not just what you're saying now, but what they can become and things like that. So Nick's been a great partner. I would say it was awesome. All three of our key guys wanted to come to the workout. Scheduling wise, it worked out for Tyrese and not the other guys. But Tyrese met with him for quite a while. Just fit wise, I think the good thing is Tyrese's high basketball IQ. He understands that like those two complement each other very well in terms of like VJ is going to be able to guard multiple positions, probably take the toughest assignment, maybe not day one, but over in his career. And then Tyrese and him are really play off of each other well. So
a lot's been made outside of Cooper Flagg of the deficiencies in some of these other higher end picks. When you look at a guy like VJ Edgecombe, what really stood out to you in terms of how he can really exceed expectations and exceed in these areas that maybe are not yet strengths, but one day could be?
Yeah, I think. Wow, that was a good way to get into what isn't he good at right now? I would say on the offensive side, and these are things he knows, like being able to shoot off the move, his spot up and shots that are sort of generated for him, he makes at a high rate. Shoot off the move. I think I was actually speaking with Eric Gordon, who took this leap. He came into the league, athletic, wasn't a good finisher. VJ isn't quite there yet and recognizes it. And I think someone like Eric, who took a big leap in finishing by working on his craft, his footwork, his timing, his takeoff points, he really improved that in the sort of the early parts of his career. And so that's another, just off the top of my head. But he has like that base athleticism, physical tools, and the work ethic that you see he could grow into all these things. Obviously, he'll have to do it, but yes.
So you're obviously not used to picking so high in the draft.
Yes.
What was different about that process, and what was the approach in terms of sorting through the options? And
I found it to be very different, I would say. You have much more visibility on who might be there, which I've never had. Usually we're running sims. We didn't have to do that this time. I would say the other thing is I really, really don't like people to know who we're picking. So it's impossible at 3. It's for people not to get a sense. You're usually down to a few names, and people are going to have a rough outline of. But I just to optimize my job trades, I think the more under the the less public it is, the better. But that's just not realistic at 3, and I sort of had to give that up early. So that was probably the 2. I would say we had to retune things to upside. I do think you don't pick high very often, so you want to take guys who have all-star capability. He absolutely has that. I don't know what percentage exactly, but we have a guess. But it's it's definitely material, and we feel good about it. So,
Daryl, what qualities as a player and as a person did you feel that VJ embodied that you guys look for as a front office and as a scouting department?
Yeah, I'm excited for everyone to meet him. I'm excited for you to meet him. It's a little hard to describe. He's sort of he's a very mature, for his age, for being under 20. He carries himself like he's already been in the league, which I don't think is easy. So that's 1. 2, I think he saw it, the love in his family there, even if you guys were watching the telecast. I think that obviously a lot of people have that, but I think, the admiration from his brother. I think, I'm just excited to get to know him. He has a real good head on his shoulders, and both on the court, basketball IQ wise, but also just life IQ. Yeah, for lack of a better term.
It was reported that Tyrese had involvement in his workout. Were Joel or Paul consulted with about him at all?
I answered that earlier. Yeah, if that's okay. Yeah.
We are going to go high and then deep, and then we're going to get Daryl back in the middle. If you're good, all right.
That was actually my question.
All right. Any last question from anyone? John Clark.
You said you were considering the top players, 4 players, when you dwindled it down until a few days ago was between VJ and Ace.
Yeah, I don't want to say, but it was down to 4. Yeah, it was down to 4. Yeah.
Thank you, Daryl.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Thanks. Thanks for coming, guys.